best race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Big push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple guns. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Win.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by two of my best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Robbie Shrey, Xfinity, Ricky, Eric Dovin, still out shooting some darts, so good luck to you. But I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Christopher type of weekend, getting it done 2 weeks in a row, this time on a road course. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about the podcast, spread the word. Fellas, how was your weekend? I wasn't paying attention much to what was going on. I know, I feel like Matt was heavily invested in wrestling on Saturday night. I missed some big stuff, I think. But Ricky, how was your weekend first? What were you up to?
2 words can describe my weekend perfect. Alcohol and sleep. Literally never drank as much in such a fast, short time, and then never slept.
I'm going to cut you off right there because I've partied with you. I've partied with you for 15 years, Shrey, and I've seen you get after it before. You're telling me this was the fastest you've drank?
The fastest, because I usually put on a clinic. I'm Port of Long Haul. Yeah. I didn't. I came out like a sprinter, like a greyhound dog, dude, and a race, and I had no stamina, dude, for the long haul at all. Well, I look at my wife.
First, you gotta say, where were you guys? Downtown Pittston.
I was at the Pittston, our local town, Pittston the Pittston St. Patrick's Parade, and it was insane. It started off mellow, and once I got a hold of liquor drinks, it was just over. And we went to a handful of bars. We went to Red Mill, Stephanie's. We started off at our friend's house. They had a breakfast for us. It was really nice. A lot of mixed drinks there. Yeah. But I would say it started getting fuzzy at Stephanie's bar. And
give me a time stamp.
Yeah, and that's probably 11:30. When right? Yeah. I'd have to say
what time?
Like 11:30.
Oh yeah, you had a good day then.
Yeah, so then maybe I'll give myself 12. Let's just say, for hindsight, I hope I'm right here. We'll say noon. Well, then we go down to Nights. I do one shot there. It was just too packed and too hot. We leave and we go over, and I hate the tomato bar. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
Anyways, I pay $15 to get in there. And instantly, dude, it was like one of those things where you're drinking all day, and then as soon as you stop and you go outside, it hits you. Yeah. Well, I don't know what happened when I walked into this atmosphere of this bar, but I just either didn't want to be there or what. I don't know, dude. I get one beer, I have it in my hand, didn't even take a sip, and I just look at Kimmy, and I'm like, we gotta go. And she's like, what? And I go, call an Uber. We looked the next day because I wanted to see what time it was. Everybody thought I had bounced out at 1:30. Here it was 2:30. So I'll give myself that.
Okay.
2:30. I got myself out of Dodge. I did the old Irish goodbye, and never do that. I'm a loving guy. I hug I'll see you. Yeah. I didn't tell any friend I was leaving at all. We headed out, literally came home. I think we got food of some sort. Couldn't even tell you what that was. I want to say pizza. Totally don't know. But I remember we ate, and then I slept on the couch, woke up at 2:30, went back to bed, woke up at 7:30 the next morning. Dude, I lost I probably slept 18 hours.
Yeah. Well, your body probably needed it, man. You're going pretty hard there. Everyone I work with kept going, oh, you going down to the Pittston Parade this week? And I go, nah, man, that's a young man's game. I can't do that anymore. But
I have no business being there.
Anyone not from our area that listens to our podcast, we have a heavy Irish ancestry in our area of northeastern Pennsylvania. There's a lot of Irish folks. I mean, my family, Shreys. I mean, Whitey, your last name is Irish. You're Irish,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Look at this blonde hair, man. Come on.
You're either Irish, Polish, or Italian, or some form of all three around
in
here.
This area,
and so we take our St. Patrick's Day parades very, very seriously. And when I say very seriously, I mean like you just drink all day long.
So yeah, this past Saturday was the Pittston St. Patrick's Day parade. This coming Saturday is the Scranton St. Patrick's Day parade, and then Wilkes-Barre is on Sunday. The Sunday one is more of a family-friendly St. Patrick's Day parade, but the Scranton St. Patrick's Day parade used to be one of the country's biggest in terms of attendance. I know the pandemic kind of killed that a little bit. Is it still as big as it was?
On WNEP, our local news station, they were advertising for the big parade this weekend, and that was one of the key points they made sure to mention is that it's one of the biggest in the country.
Yeah, like in terms of like Boston and those cities, like we don't match it, but like per capita for our population, it's a big
I think
deal.
It's a top 5 St. Patrick's Day parade.
It is. I think it's third.
I think it's third too. I think it's Boston. Yeah. I want to say like Austin, Texas, or something, maybe Philly or something, and then it's us.
I think Chicago has a big one. Chicago's a big one too. Yeah.
It's Chicago. It is Chicago.
Yeah,
Chicago has a big. They do the River Green and all that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean so we did. There was a stretch of probably 10 years where I didn't miss a Pittston parade or a Scranton parade.
Yeah.
The last parade I went to was the Pittston parade of 2020. Yeah. And that was 1 week, if you guys remember.
Before it all shut down. Yeah.
Right before everything got shut down. So, like, the last thing Steph and I got to do before the pandemic, like, thank God it happened that way, was, like, we got to see everyone during the parade because that's back, when everyone was still kind of going. And then the world shut down. And I took that as a sign of, Matt, it's time to hang up the parade boots, buddy. It's time to pass it on to the next generation.
I did the same. That was the second to last one. That was the last normal weekend I think any of us ever actually had. And I remember our buddy Mike DePietro is an ER doctor, but he was down in New Jersey at the time. And I remember talking to him. He goes, "Whitey, we're all gonna get it. We're all fucked, man. Don't worry." Because I was real anxious about it all, watching the news every day before everything shut down. And then I went, not the year after, but the year after that, I think, I went down to Pittston. And by then, like you said, like all of our friends kind of stopped coming in and making it a big event. I saw Ricky there. I saw a couple people we knew. But at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm getting old. It's cold. I'm tired. And I haven't looked back since. But what about you, Matt? What'd you do this weekend? What's up?
Oh, I just want to end it by saying I closed the chapter for all the listeners the last 2 weeks. I've been going through a little drama with vehicles, and I closed that book. I got a new truck. It's bigger, better, and newer. I love it, and I made out in the end. So, thank God for good insurance companies.
Nice. I'm glad it all worked out for you. The new truck looks really nice, too. I saw your picture on Instagram. Whatchamacallit, that reminds me, at the end of the show, we were debating about when the next gen car and all that stuff was too. 2020, the pandemic didn't kill the next gen car. It wasn't supposed to come out 2020. It was being built during 2020.
Next year.
And then the next year was supposed to come out. We had to go 21 with the old car too. And that's why we only had 22, 23, and 24 with the next gen for the COTA stats.
I thought we figured that out. Did we not figure that out?
I don't know. As I was listening back to the show to remember what we picked, I went through it all again. I'm like, oh no, we threw out some bad dates there, but just to correct us on the last one, I try to when we can. But Matt, how was your weekend, man?
It was all right. So we were supposed to go to my cousin's kid turned 2 over the past week, and he was having a birthday party on Saturday. Unfortunately, my Jackson, my kid, got a little bit of a stomach bug, so he was kind of up and down. It was kind of hit and miss throughout the day on Saturday. And we were like, you know what? He likes going to parties. He's got a little bit of me in him where he likes partying. So he kept saying party. So we were like, all right, let's see how he does. But
a little puke and rally, dude. Let's go.
Pretty much. So we stopped in for a couple minutes. We didn't want to pass it on to anyone. Stopped in, dropped off a present or whatnot. And then on the way out, so Whitey, like you said, so since I don't know what's got me back into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I, like my wife too, is like really into it. So like we're back watching like WWE, like, and it's like I don't know how. You know what? I think it was like it was getting hyped up because it was coming back on Netflix.
Yeah,
and so we were like, oh, let's check it out. And we've been watching since January, and like we're like into it. So there was like the pay-per-view on Saturday night, the Elimination Chamber. So I was like, oh. We just left the party. I was like, I'm out of beer. Let me pit stop and get beer, right? So I wanted bottles. I'm like, I think I'm done with cans. Just on a side note, I love bottles so much more than cans.
The best.
So I had cans at home, but I wanted bottles. So I stopped at the one beer store on the corner of 8th Street before you go over the bridge to Pittston at that gas station Unimart there. So
you can do shots in that one.
Huh?
You can do shots.
Yes,
in that
you can.
You do shots in a lot of
funny. So I walk in there and I go in and I get the case of Miller Lite, the bottles of Miller Lite, and I also had a Gatorade in my hand for Jackson because again he was sick, so we want to get him a little hydration. So I had the Gatorade in my hand. I go to grab the bottles out of the case, and it's at like knee level, so like it's like I don't have a good angle on it, and I go to pull it out, and it catches the lip. And like the weight shifted, and I fumbled it, and the case dropped, and there was just beer smashed everywhere.
No!
I'm like, oh my god, right? So I'm like, I'm not paying. Like my first thought was like, I'm not paying for this. I'm not do. So what I had to do was, so I went back into the case, got another case of beer, pulled it out clean this time, and I couldn't close the door, so I had to like scooch it off to the side, which made even more of a mess, so I can close the case door. No. So I went up and I put it on the counter there, and the owners of the place, let's just say they're the type of people who don't like waste. And so I was like, oh man, I don't want to make this a big deal, right? But I'm also like, I'm not going to tell them until I'm done paying for this beer. Yeah. So I paid for it. The transaction went through. I'm like, hey, just so you know.
There's a
I accidentally dropped a case of beer. There's beer everywhere over there. My bad. And so they're like panicking. Like I just said, there was a bomb in the aisle. Yeah. And so they run around the counter and they look at it and they go over and they're like, oh my God. Oh. And so the other owner comes over and he's like older. He looks at me straight in my eyes. And here I'm thinking like, oh, here we go. He looks at me. He goes, what did you do? I'm like, buddy, I dropped it getting out of. Do you want to pull the tape? Like I dropped it pulling out of the case. I told you about it. I'm leaving, and so I just grabbed my beer and I walked out. I don't know what happened after that, but fuck them. Then I went home and I drank those bottles of beer and I watched the Elimination Chamber. And
I'm sure they'll get their money back from the distributor and be like, "Hey, this box broke," you know. But that's. You know what that is? That's a Whitey story, but it happened to you. You know?
It is a Whitey story. You know what? I think I told Steph that when I got in the car. I said, I think the most Whitey thing just happened to me.
That is. Yeah. You want to know what, though? I wouldn't even say. They just would have left. Like, sorry, man.
I didn't want the bad karma. I already had a sick kid on my hands. I didn't want the bad karma, but I was not going to let them charge me for it.
No. Like, hey, man, I don't know what happened. This thing fell. You should have said it fell out as soon as I opened the door.
No, I was honest. I said, hey, I dropped it. Like, what? My bad. Like, it happened.
It is what it is. What you recall it? My weekend was decent. I didn't do much. I was upset when I haven't been watching wrestling in a while either. But with the Netflix deal, I want to get back into it. Me and Bubba talk about it quite a bit. He fills me in on those storylines. And when I saw you guys going nuts and the whole John Cena thing, I was like, God damn it, I wish I tuned in. So we obviously grew up in what I consider the best era of the WWE, the Attitude Era with Stone Cold, Triple H, The Rock, Undertaker, all that. And again, I haven't really watched since I was a kid until the past couple months. But what I can say, and I said it in our group chat last night with Bubba, is it's close to where it was back then as far as the storytelling goes. Yeah. And I think that's why I'm back kind of into it, is because like it's just good entertainment. You guys know how I get with football season, especially with Notre Dame. So like it's like I get amped up for games.
Bubba said it perfectly. Even when my team wins, I lose because I get so amped up for these games where like the WWE, like I don't have like, an emotional investment. So I just kick back and I let myself get entertained, but it's still sports to me kind of. And so like, I don't, but like, it's like kind of relaxing,
right?
And it's a little something to gap me between now and football season in August. So that and NASCAR, obviously. I mean, obviously.
And that's why we're here to announce the Bump and Run podcast is now the Turnbuckle podcast. And we're just talking about WWE wrestling, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Those streamers get like millions of followers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, but what should we call it? We're here to talk NASCAR. Let's get into it. We got a little NASCAR news for you. Apparently, NASCAR says they're going to continue to throw cautions on the final lap when situations warrant it. I don't think they're taking criticism for last week. I don't think they should take criticism for last week either. Let's see. NASCAR also apparently began discussing possible playoff changes. I know that was one of the things that kind of irritated us coming into this season, that they haven't adjusted anything with the playoffs, but apparently they have a playoff committee that met during Speed Week, and the panel of more than 24 members include active and Hall of Fame drivers, series executives, and representatives from manufacturers and the media industry. So they're kind of getting everyone's input on that.
I like that.
Hopefully they take more of the drivers' input more serious than everyone else's, but I guess we'll see what happens with that. But I am excited too. Hopefully they just need to do something to legitimize the playoffs a little bit more.
Shorten it down. I just want it shortened down.
Yeah, we've gotten into what we think it needs to be. I think there needs to clearly be some changes. Yeah,
get rid of your win and you're in, and kind of go back to the chase format. I wasn't an active fan then, but I think I'm a fan of that format. And then let's see, Kurt Busch. This is exciting news for Kurt Busch, just in general health wise. He's returning to racing next week at Race of Champions. I believe that's that IMSA, or not the IMSA, the IROC event I told you guys about during the preseason news, where there's a whole bunch of road course racing happening in California this weekend. And he's hoping it's a springboard to get back into racing, either doing some late model stuff or what. But I know it's been a long journey for Kurt Busch. I forget, what year was that? We were at Pocono when it happened. Was it 22 that he got hurt?
I think so.
Yeah. So almost 3 years now. Long recovery for him. And then NASCAR apparently had to clarify the damaged vehicle policy in the rules. It wasn't clear during the 500. Kyle Busch had an issue when they attempted to make minimum speed. I think he tried it like 2 or 3 times leaving the garage. It's been clarified. A driver can only leave the designated work area once before attempting to make minimum speed, which was not the language in the rule book at the time of the Daytona 500. So NASCAR kind of going back and clarifying things.
Rightfully so. At the time, Kyle Busch had made a tweet and he blasted the NASCAR for getting it wrong.
I think they should,
and they got it right. So yeah, it was a tweet that he tweeted out and he kind of blasted. So they probably just putting it out there like, hey, we didn't do nothing wrong. This is what it is. And
sometimes the way they write rules is very vague. A lot of times just to kind of catch everything. So
how would we know? They don't release the rule book to the public.
I think that is the most
we'll touch on this soon because I actually have something that goes right into that.
Okay.
And then I don't exactly know how to pronounce her last name, but I think it's Catherine Legge. Is making her Cup debut at Phoenix with Live Fast Motorsports. So she mainly runs IMSA, but she competed in Xfinity and the ARCA Series at Daytona, and as well as some open wheel racing. But she is a British racer, so good luck to her. I guess she's the first woman to compete in the Cup Series since Danica Patrick in 2018. So we'll see what she does.
That's not true. Sorry, I didn't mean to correct you there, but
that's all right.
Joey Logano races on a weekly basis.
Well, that is true. Anyways, we got a NASCAR weekend to talk about. Connor Zilisch was your Xfinity Series race winner. Shrey, I'm guessing you were snoozing by then. Matt, I think you saw the Xfinity race on Saturday afternoon, though. What did you think of it?
I saw the last 15 laps, which on COTA is enough. You know what I mean? Good. It was great. It was a great race. I mean, it was a great. A lot of times, actually, you get a good Xfinity race, and you're like, man, I really hope this is just an appetizer for what Cup is going to be, and then it just never materializes that way. Well, this week, a little sneak peek into my Cup race grade is as good as the Xfinity race was. The Cup race was just as better, if not better. You know, just as good, if not better. So, yeah, it was a great ending to that race.
I know it was a bit of a controversial win. I guess he had some issues on track with some teammates and stuff that he had to apologize to. At least I know that happened in the Cup Series to him too. But they said on his way over to victory lane, he was sending apology text messages to guys. But again, he's super young. So Connor Zilisch getting the win in the Xfinity Series.
I was just gonna say, but like, what are you gonna like? I listen, road courses and super speedways, like shit's gonna happen. You know, as long as it's not egregious,
right?
I didn't think anything.
Unless you're not Ross.
I guess.
Right.
I guess it was something that happened.
Anything he did was egregious. He's going for wins. He's young. He's super talented, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think knowing how kind of Junior and Kelly operate and handle those situations where if there is any kind of in-house quote unquote drama, I don't think there's any drama. I think drama is too dramatic of a word, but if there is any issues, they usually squash that in-house and have good conversations with them. So not worried about that as far as Junior Motorsports goes.
And then Christopher Bell, he led 2 times for 8 laps to get the win in COTA 2 weeks in a row, walking away with the trophy. The race lasted 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 20 seconds, 4 cautions for 15 laps, 20 lead changes among 9 different drivers, which is usually pretty high for a road course. Of course, I guess when they're doing green flag stops and stuff, but your top 5, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Busch. Fellas, what'd you think of the race? Matt, we'll start with you this week. I think I know.
A plus. That was. I'd have to go back and look at the past couple years road courses with the next gen car. And I know hindsight's 2020, but damn, if that wasn't the best road course race we've seen with the next gen car, it's got to be up in the top 3 or 4. That race was phenomenal. From lap 1, corner 1, where Chastain absolutely derailed Chase Elliott to the last turn on the last lap, and everything in between, it just kept me on the edge of my seat. And as we got closer and closer to the end, it was just phenomenal. It was so good where we had Christopher Bell chasing down Kyle Busch, right? And we were like, hey, if this goes green, this is going to be one of the best races we've ever seen. It didn't go green because Denny Hamlin blew a tire and ran the 3 off the track and got stuck in the pebbles, so they had to throw the yellow, and it still ended up being a phenomenal ending to a race. So just hands down, there was passing everywhere throughout the pack. There was battles. There was some strategy. There was nothing, but like the strategy
fall off.
The strategy wasn't so much where it was too much, like where,
hard to follow.
Where you needed Steve Letarte to explain everything for you. Like, we never got to that point, which is nice, but it was just enough strategy. It was the tire fall off. We had comers, we had goers, we had Chase Elliott making his way up through the pack. Hey, can he get back up to the front in time to make a run for it? And then at the end of the race, you could throw a blanket over the 3 cars running for the win. And I just loved it. I loved everything about that race. It was a clean finish.
Yeah.
It was a clean finish. Like, that's something we don't get a lot anymore, especially on road courses. The last restart was clean.
Not only was it a clean finish, like that was completely clean from before the caution when Christopher Bell was trying to hunt Kyle Busch down. Then after the caution, like when Christopher Bell locked his brakes up to avoid contact with Kyle Busch, like he sacrificed himself to kind of make up for things he's done in the past, I feel like. And then to make that drive just so much more impressive after that. Like,
he
honestly,
still came back and got him and won the race. It was just, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I went within the last, that last run, which I think was the last 14 laps. When was that last caution? I'm sorry to put you on the spot there.
Yeah, I don't think it was within 14. I think it was like 10 or 15. Was it?
Something like that.
Regardless,
here, let me pull it up.
During that last run, I went from kind of a laying down position on my couch to a sitting up position to an edge of my couch position. Standing up and pacing. Yep. Yeah. All in those last, whatever, call it 10 laps of the race. I loved it, man. I loved it. I was so happy to see that. Gonna stay positive about Phoenix coming up. We're notorious haters on Phoenix, but if we can get half the race we had at COTA at Phoenix, it'll be a good start to the year.
You know what? Recently, Phoenix does suck, but recently the spring race, I think we kind of treat it as a strategy race, and like we pay attention to it, kind of like how Richmond kind of evolved into a strategy race.
Yeah.
And I feel like last year's spring Phoenix race wasn't terrible.
I'm with you for Phoenix standards.
But I can't. I'm trying to pull up.
Don't worry about it. It doesn't really matter. Just that last run is what really got me excited. Yeah.
No, I agree. How about you, Shrey? What did you think of the race? You said a little bit different opinion.
Yeah. So before I give my race grade, I'll give what I did like. I really enjoyed. I agree with everything Matt said about the end of that race. The last 15 to 20 laps were absolutely amazing. And take road course out of it, take the track out of it. That's some of the best racing we've seen in a decade.
In a long time,
that was phenomenal. Yeah, for how clean it was, and all the racers to show their talents and showcase it. Like, hey, we can race each other clean. We don't have to be dirty and do anything egregious and make someone hate us. And I mean, hats off to them. They showed why they are on Sunday, why they race on Sundays and not Saturdays or Friday nights. But phenomenal. I was out of my only one time though. I was out of my seat, and it was during that time, and it got more and more. I went from a laying down position to, like Matt said, sitting and edge of the seat, and then totally standing. I was there with you, but I did it. But you know what? Here's my analogy for me, and I know I heard your race grade, Matt, and I think you're with the majority of the people, and I think I'm the minority of the people that think it this way. You know what? Like, let's talk football for a second. Like, that race to me, the way I absorbed it was like a football game that hasn't had any touchdowns, that was just field goals, and then the last 2 minutes of play, a team does a trick play that nobody's ever seen before, and it worked. And it was like, that was sick. That was awesome. And you totally forget about the bullshit that you just endured during it. But that mattered. And for me, I can't judge this race because right out of the gate, you had shit stain make a shit stain move and skid mark up someone's ass. That was annoying. And it was like, and then when you needed cautions, it wasn't happening. Like, I wanted a caution at either the first or second stage, and it was like, no, you're not going to get it. And because I wanted strategy to change, I wanted to see if crew chiefs were going to do something. But I will say this: I got to give it to Adam Stevens, the crew chief for Christopher Bell, because it's because of him that race got exciting. He decided to keep Christopher Bell out there 2 laps longer than Kyle Busch, and that's the call that made it.
Yeah,
I don't think it necessarily had anything to do with driver because they were racing clean, and I think it had to do with the crew chief. Adam Stevens makes that call to keep him out there, and hey, we're gonna have fresher tires, and Kyle Busch got washed up. But I don't know, for me, that's how I like the last. I wish the end of that race was somewhat like you had that energy throughout the whole race. I just didn't feel it, and it didn't captivate me the way it captivated others. So I got to give it a full grade lower than you did, and I gave it a B+.
Okay,
that's fair. That's fair, and I love when there's that kind of dichotomy of like, hey, you saw it one way, I saw it another. Remember, before the show, before we started recording, I said I have a theory as to why you feel the way you do. And brother, especially during the football season when I'm drinking a whole lot more in the fall than I am throughout the rest of the year because college football is on Saturdays and I'm hungover on Sunday for the Cup race.
Oh, yeah.
Is it possible that because you were so drunk on Saturday that you were just tired and hungover and you just didn't have the right mindset for the first 3 quarters of that race?
Absolutely.
And the reason why I'm asking that is because almost every race during the playoffs, I feel the same way.
But I also think I
should be enjoying this, but I'm not.
But I also think it's a me problem, and why that I'm a very traditionalist with NASCAR, and I'm not a road course guy.
You're not a road course guy at all,
you know.
Yeah.
And I wish they would, take 3 of them out instead of adding all the time. Add more circles. I'm totally for it because I'm just not, and especially these homemade they're not real tracks. Done with it. I don't want you to go to a Indianapolis Speedway and not run Indy.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And so, but I mean, COTA, that place, I mean, they put on Austin. What a great town. What a great city. That is a nice track. That is beautiful. The facility's sick. The owner, I heard, is awesome. They put a ton of money into the place, but and it was awesome. That's why I gave it a B+. But I don't even put it into the fakeness. But I just have a problem. Really, it's on a Sunday that I know it's a road course. It's
you don't look forward to him as much. And
yeah,
I'm going to split the difference between the two. I gave it an A, not quite an A+, not quite an A-, but I know exactly what you mean because I wasn't always a road course guy either. Matt kind of showed me the ways throughout the years, especially at Watkins Glen. I think Watkins Glen's the best. Love going up there in the summertime. But like you said, I had no expectations going into this race. I had 0 expectations, especially since last year. This was one of the worst races of the season for me. I didn't enjoy it. I think I gave it a C- last year. And I was expecting no passing, nothing really going on. Maybe a little fuel strategy, and that was about it. And I think because I was expecting nothing, I was pleasantly surprised. I was pissed off at that first lap dive bomb from Ross Chastain, though. I'll tell you that much. I was cursing up and down a storm because I had Chase Elliott in my fucking fantasy.
Me too.
I had Ross Chastain in my fantasy, and I had Alex Bowman in my fantasy, and I think all 3 of those guys were involved in something throughout the day. But I thought it was a great race. First stage flew by, and it was pretty exciting, and I think that helped keep my attention. Second stage, it kind of lulled for me, so I kind of understand where you're meaning, because I don't really remember much of the second stage at all. I don't think anything really happened, and looking at who led
you just
and
wanted
everything,
to caution the whole time in the second stage,
right? And looking at who led, okay, Christopher Bell led twice for 8 laps. Tyler Reddick led twice for 9 laps, but then the rest of the race was kind of dominated by Kyle Busch and SVG. SVG led 5 times for 23 laps. Kyle Busch led 6 times for 42 laps. 42 laps at a road course is insane. So I understand.
That's what I was going to say when earlier, and I didn't want to totally just give a middle finger to Matt when because he used the terminology I was going to use verbatim, comers and goers. I was going to say there wasn't. If you were up there,
in that middle portion, there wasn't.
You were there. Yeah. And besides, the good point that he mentioned, though, was Chase. Chase was the exception. Chase gets bumped out, and then he's running. That was fun. But besides him, really, if you're just there, you were there. You were in the mid-pack back. You weren't doing nothing. And that's just how I was, though. To me, if you had a hot rod, you were going to run up there, and you were always going to be.
And I agree with that. And I think it's the mentality you go into watching a road course race for, because I agree. There wasn't a whole lot of action going on at the front. Guys are trying to hunt and stuff down. But as I was watching it, I was more interested all right, who's going to short pit first? Who's going to come into the pits before the end of stage 2? Who's going to try to flip this? Who's going to try something different? I was waiting for that strategy. And then once I got it, that third stage, you have to look at it as a whole, because that was the slow burn to get to the amazing part at the end where like without all of that before that, like I don't think you can get that burn. And even like Chase Elliott, he needed that caution to get something out of it where they came and pitted during that caution. That's why he had such fresh tires. He was able to cut through the field and like he create that excitement of hunting down that pack. But I think to get to that slow build and the burn up of everything, like we needed a lull in stage 2, see what guys are going to try. And that's how I approach it pretty much every road course. It's like, all right, well, who's going to try something? Who's going to come out, collect points and try to get the best day they can points wise? Who's going to go out and try something crazy to go out and win it? You know,
I'll tell you what was neat was another week of me, like, here we are early, only week 3 into the season, and I'm excited because I think Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch of 5 years ago, right? You know, and I we're seeing his, like, he's still Kyle Busch. Like, if you forgot who he was, he's rowdy, you know, and he showed talent and he made it hard on all them, and you know, just hats off to all of them for racing each other clean.
He probably had the best car in the field. SVG had a really good car, but like Kyle Busch's car was hands down better than everyone's. It's just that varying strategy that killed him. He burned up his tires, you know, and that was it. And that's what I loved about the third stage too. We saw tires come into play. I hope we continue to see tire fall off and stuff, especially if we get this type of fall off at short tracks, save short tracks a little bit. Matt, you're shaking your head. What's going on?
I'm just looking at the loop data because, like, listen, I'm taking what you guys are saying with an open mind about this race. I feel like we watched 2 different fucking races, boys. I don't know. I saw passing all over I'm looking at the loop data, and the loop data is telling me a different story than what you guys saw. I saw an awesome race on Saturday or on Sunday.
I thought it was an awesome race too.
Sunday. I thought it was too.
I'm looking at the starting positions of like 1 through 10, right? And then you look at like where their average running positions were. Like Kyle Busch started 8th. His average running position was 2nd. But you got guys here who like their average position. Let me see here. Let me sort it out this way. And it's going to be hard for me to explain it without like having to be able to show you the stats.
The visual, yeah.
Yeah, but like average running position, William Byron started 15th. His average running position was 5th, so he was making passes. AJ Allmendinger started 12th. His average running position was 6th, which doesn't sound like a lot, but like on a road course, like that's a lot. That's a lot of ground to make up.
It was, but it happened quick in the first stage because it all goes back to practice and qualifying the day before. The first group of qualifying, they got fucked temperature wise, where the second group was lights out quicker than the first group was. So you had a lot of great cars that were really fast in practice that had to cut through the field, like Bowman and Byron, Kyle Larson. Those guys had to like kind of move their way through. Oh, we didn't even mention Kyle Larson losing a wheel coming off pit road. That's going to be a big old penalty too, huh?
Oh, darn it.
Oh, sucks.
Hey, speaking of penalties, is Austin Cindric going to get a penalty?
For what? The right hook?
Yeah. I'll tell you what. He
and if you were talking about consistency, right, we like to on this show, and NASCAR, you almost need to, and I feel bad for the guy because it was frustration. Yeah. He was the best car the last 2 weeks, gets wrecked out or doesn't go his way, and then I felt like that was like a boneheaded move, like, oh, boom, I did it, but I'm on a road course, so they might overlook it, but they shouldn't.
That's why I wonder, because it's on a road course, is it as egregious as on an oval? Because the reason why you don't want a right hook on an oval is because the banking is going to push you right into the wall like that, you know? Like,
understood, and context probably should matter, but
like
a rule is a rule, and
I understand.
I'm with Shrey on this one, you know. You right hooked them. I don't care. You're still right hooking him in traffic where you know you turn his car sideways. Well, now his passenger or his driver's side is with traffic, or could be with oncoming traffic.
Well, actually, if you left hook him in that same area, there's walls on each side. It's in a flat straightaway. If you hook him to the left, then you're exposing the driver door to the nose of all of those cars coming. So honestly, a right hook kind of safer in this situation.
Okay, fair. I see what you, but still, like, all joking aside,
I know what you mean, though. Yeah,
I don't think it can be on a track by track basis where it's Martinsville, so it's not as dangerous as Kansas.
Yep. Yeah,
but like it's still an odd danger, and if it's odd danger, then it needs to be penalized. Like we can't be putting our fellow drivers in situations where they could potentially get hurt because my feelings got hurt. Like it doesn't. I'm with Shrey on this one. I think that they at the very least need to look into it, and I think they are.
Well, penalties reports come out on Wednesday, so we'll see. And
I'm going to make a prediction. They're not going to penalize them.
I'm going to say they're never going to mention it again. Nothing's going to happen.
Yep.
Because you want to know what? Like, I didn't listen to a lot of NASCAR media this week, but I'm assuming no one's really talking about it either. You know, it's one of those things that it popped up on social media real quick, and that I think it disappeared.
But see, and I bet you the drivers are though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're out there and you know that happened, or if you're say Bubba Wallace and you were penalized for that exact move, you're probably, hey, what are they going to do with him?
Yeah.
Are they going to, you know what I mean?
Someone else was
Bubba or Chase Elliott got suspended for a race because he did. I get it. It's a lot more egregious, but there shouldn't be levels of like, his was a little more dangerous. Like, no, it should be cut and dry.
I think you at least need to address the elephant in the room.
You like,
bring it up and talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder, is this something that they would put into the rule book where it's like, clarify. I think we just need clarification, kind of like what they did with the garage and damaged vehicle policy. So other than that, did we cover it all? I feel like we did. Anything else that stood out from this race?
SVG, man, he's
awesome.
He was there. He was there.
I was wearing my shirt Sunday. Me and Dovin was wearing his shirt. Dovin actually bought me mine.
Stuff up. I mean, just like Kyle Busch, I was rooting hard for Kyle to win that. I think all
me too.
Right? I mean, obviously, Whitey, you had Tyler in the mix there, and we had SVG in the mix too. But if Kyle was going to win that race, I would have been totally okay with it.
Honestly, I didn't think Reddick had much of a shot up until real close to the end there, where I kind of had written him off, to be honest with you. Like once the caution,
the first two guys were battling, and he could have snuck. I was thinking
that's when I was like, oh, maybe something can happen here. But before that,
I think we both texted at the same time, like, yo, Reddick's in the game. Like he's here. Like he's coming.
But before that, I want to see Kyle Busch win. Kyle Busch needs to win. This sport needs Kyle Busch to win.
Absolutely.
But that's the 15-minute warning. So you guys want to fly through the rest of this stuff?
Let's do it.
All right. Here on the Bummer Run podcast, everyone loves to talk about the winner on a Monday when Christopher Bell, but we like to talk about the loser on a Tuesday too. We mentioned him. He won on Saturday, but he lost on Sunday. It was Connor Zilisch making his Cup debut after winning the day before. I was excited to see how he ran. Unfortunately, he was one of many victims of Ross Chastain on that first lap, so he sat back in the pack for a while. Ended up working his way back up to the mid-pack, and then his teammate Daniel Suarez spun out, made a big old cloud of dust and smoke, and Connor Zilisch T-boned him, ending both of their days. Where do you guys think Daniel Suarez ends up next year? This is a contract year, and I'm guessing Mi Amigo is out.
I'm guessing he's out too. He hasn't. We talked about it. I don't really want to.
I think he's kind of a hothead.
That's exactly what I was getting at. We've talked about it in the past, man. He's a hothead. He's aggressive. He's borderline dirty, and nobody talks about it because he's a likable guy. Like, listen, this is not a shot at Daniel Suarez off the track. I like Daniel Suarez off the track.
He's dirty, especially on road courses.
He's borderline fucking dirty. I picked up on it a couple years ago, and I brought it up on this podcast, and I think you guys started watching it too.
Yeah.
And it's like, pay attention to Daniel Suarez. Like, he gets away with shady ass shit,
especially on road courses. Him and McDowell have had great battles on road courses. Him and Buscher have gone into each other. Him and Keselowski for sure. Keselowski usually on the losing end of that one. But
can I just add something real quick? Speaking of dirty and driving and racing, how about like it's fine. It's not fine, but it's one thing to be that way. And then when you go an interview and you're asked a question, Ross Chastain, you can't answer. I like, what are you doing, dude? Admit you're guilty.
Especially after last week, like how many, especially after last week, like how many dumb things has Ross Chastain done and like gotten yelled at for? Carson Hocevar does basically the same thing that Ross Chastain used to do to anybody, gets reamed out by him the week before, and then turn one, lap one, silence.
But you know what it bothers me? Here it is, dude. It just like, I refuse to let it go because he's a mixture of two people. He doesn't have the talent of either, but he's dirty like Logano.
Yeah.
And then he gives interviews like Chase Elliott. Yeah. I can't handle it. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Well, we said it years ago. We think he just forgets. Like he gets out of a car because when he's being interviewed, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like he looks dead. He looks dead behind the eyes.
About? I didn't take Chase Elliott out.
It's like I didn't. What? I didn't do that.
Like dude, I can't stand him. He's a smug motherfucker. I hate that guy.
Oh, and you want to what?
We narrowed it down. Me, Whitey, and Eric, and this is a conversation for off the air. But he reminds us of someone we used to know.
Oh yeah,
and ever since we've all kind of discovered that, I can't forget it, and it like bothers the shit out of me. So I just associate Ross with this person, and it's like it gets under my skin every time.
I'm so happy you doored me last week and took him after what he did.
Yeah, I boned. I thought I took Reddick. But I didn't. I went back and listened to it, and I was like, God damn it, I did take Chastain. Damn it.
And you want to know what? It worked out for Ricky, too, because Shrey, you won the week. You got 46 points for picking Kyle Busch. Eric came in second. He picked Ty Gibbs. He got 34 points. I picked Alex Bowen. I got 28 points. And Matt picked Ross Chastain, got 25 points. So everything was pretty close. Here's the thing. So we have our picks. Shrey filled in the last 2 weeks. He didn't make a pick for Daytona. He is winning the points by 3 points. He's beating us all, and he made one less start than the rest of us. So I feel like you're already winning the way it is. But Matt,
just being here with you guys, I'm winning.
Oh yeah. But Matt, who are you picking for Phoenix this weekend?
I'm keeping it simple, stupid. KISS. I'm keeping it simple, stupid. I'm taking the 12 of Ryan Blaney. I think.
What are you doing every week, Matt? You're soaring. That's why I wore this shirt, dude.
I'm sorry, brother, but listen, I think if you want points, if you want a chance to win at Phoenix, I mean, Kyle Larson. I don't agree with much that he says, but he said it this week that. Why even go to Phoenix for the championship race? Because we already know it's going to be a Penske car that wins it. They're so good there. I'm taking Blaney.
All right. Shrey, as soon as I saw you in that shirt, I already knew Matt's pick because we had to get Eric's pick. And because Eric's picking third, we had to reveal ours to Eric. So he didn't pick him by accident. I
want to announce Eric's pick because he just texted it.
Well, he did, but
there's a reason why I want to announce Eric's pick.
I pick next, and I am going for the three-peat. He won Phoenix last year. Matt, you made a great point about those Penske cars, but I think that Christopher Bell could get it done a third week in a row, and I want to see it happen, so I'm going with C-Bell this week.
I'd be okay with that. I like when guys go on runs like that, where it almost becomes like a bounty to like, hey, he's like, we can't let him win again,
Oh, yeah.
This becomes very hard for me because once I get my first driver taken, right? Now I just stop and I have to hear everybody else's, and then I have to like do it like all live, my head's going nuts.
I'll give you a hint going forward. Shrey is pick three guys, or I guess pick four guys. Because last year I went on a run. I won last year, and so I was picking last a lot. And so I would always pick like 3 guys just in case. A lot of times it actually didn't even come down to like any of my guys getting picked. But in cases like this where there's like certain tracks where like specific guys are really good at it, it gets difficult.
And you've been hearing me hemming and hawing for years because I'm always unprepared. So it sucks. I feel your pain.
Eric's up next, right?
Yep, Matt. Tell him.
All right,
tell
I
him
want
who
to
Eric
take
picked.
the honor of announcing.
I can't believe this pick, man.
I want to take the honor of announcing to the world that one Eric Dovin, Daytona Ron, picked Joey Logano to win a race. I love being able to say, I'm going to hold that against him forever. Eric picked Joey?
Joey Logano?
That's a great pick.
I was trying to find a boo, but I can't find one.
You know what? He's going to go win this race now.
No, he's not.
Wait, did you pick Whitey?
Yeah, I picked Christopher Bell. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh, man.
I'm
if Joey Logano wins this race, I'm going to be so mad.
Oh, man. There's 2 people.
It's a short track-ish race, you know.
I know. You know what though? I feel like the 48 of Alex Bowman and Mr. Hendrick are going to get it together.
Yeah, it's his home track. It's very possible. Bowman's been running great so far this season too. He really has.
He runs great at Phoenix too.
Yep. So give me that because it was either him and I'm not going with this one. I'm locked in. But I think 2 other drivers are going to have a good day. And for some reason, I want to say Ty Gibbs and
yeah.
Yep. And who are you going with, Bubba? Is that Bubba?
No, I think Slick Willie 2 Earls is primed to have a good race too. I just think he's going to be in the mix.
But I was almost going to take Noah Gragson, but I just got to stay away. That's just my fandom.
You know what?
Wait, let's go back a second to COTA. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention how good of a fucking run he had at COTA this past weekend.
Yeah, that's who I'm between. Like now is like I'm a Josh Berry guy, but I'm kind of sitting back this year, and like I'm not like polar like drawn in all the way. I'm sitting back and like it's Josh Berry and Noah, like they're my guys, and I just trying to see what's going to happen here.
You know what threw me off? Because you go, oh, well, what about his run at COTA? I'm like, what do you mean? He got turned into the wall. I keep mistaking the 10 car for Noah Gragson still. I'm not used to him being in the 4 car. I didn't even notice him on the track, to be honest with you. Now you say it like, oh, he was in the Rush Truck Center, which also throws me off because I still associate that paint scheme with Clint Boyer, even though Clint Boyer hasn't driven in years.
Me too.
I had Noah in one of my DraftKings lineups, so I was watching because I was in the money. I ended up winning like $15 or something like that. I was watching Gragson, and I was like, holy shit, like, look at him. And then finally, I think it might have even been Boyer was probably watching him because of the Rush relationship. Yeah. And he was probably like, whoa, look at Noah Gragson in 7th or wherever he was. You know, holy shit.
Well, whatchamacallit, I'm going to toss in another name too. Don't sleep on Kyle Busch, man. He's been running so well so far this season.
I would be pumped if he gets it done.
I would be too. I'd be so pumped.
So I guess we'll see. Right now, we have 3 races. What's that?
Sorry. We have 5 minutes. I wanted to shoehorn one more thing in.
Yeah.
I think we'd also be remiss. We don't do checkers and wreckers anymore, but if we did, my checkers would have gone to the entire field this week for not taking out that tire barrier in turn 6A.
Oh, yeah.
How close they were all getting to that.
Real close,
one of them ran into it. Holy shit.
And then the
my little checkers would have been Adam Stevens, like on that call. I think it was just the call of the call. Like that's what made them in victory lane was keeping him out.
My records was that camera angle. We got a nice view of the backstretch fucking grandstands there.
Yeah, horrible. I beat you guys up. I'm like, dude, Fox take an L. Dude.
They really do.
How do you even do that?
Dude, you want to know what? Fox is so bad they had me defending Clint Boyer on Twitter the last 3 days. Yeah. Bad.
That's bad.
Go check out the Bubba Run podcast Twitter page.
It wasn't even just any old lap, too. It was a pass for the lead at the end of the race, and we got the backside of bleachers.
Unreal. And then we got cut to a bumper cam.
Did you hear Mike Joy sigh at the very end of that?
They just went silent. It's deflating. But we're 3 races into the 2025 season. Fox is cut short this year. Don't forget that. So
yeah, they are. Yes.
And I'm almost certain that NASCAR Productions is producing the Amazon races, which NASCAR Productions is producing the CW races right now too. So I'm looking forward for Fox to get the fuck out of here. But we're 3 races into the 25 season. 2 drivers locked in, Christopher Bell and William Byron. This weekend we have no trucks. We got Xfinity on track Saturday, 5 p.m. on the CW for the GOVX 200, and then Sunday.
Don't ask me to spell it.
Yeah, Sunday GOVX 200, and then Sunday we got Cup 330. It's going on FS1 this weekend, so we're off of regular Fox. Practice and qualifying Saturday. 2:05 on Amazon Prime. Don't forget practice on Amazon Prime, and we will see who will win the Shiners Children 500 this Sunday 3:30. We will find out. Will it be Christopher Bell? Will it be Ryan Blaney or Joey Logano? Those Penske boys. Could it be? Not Noah Gragson, but
Alex Bowman.
Could it be Alex Bowman? We will find out this Sunday, 3:30 on FS1, and we'll break it all down for you right here on the Bumper Run Podcast next Tuesday night. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Robbie Shrey, and for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.